Hello all you wild and free ones out there, middle-aged madam here. I'd like to explore gaslighting today by saying well, dear Rishi Sunak, it was quite the spectacle watching you squirm like a naughty little boy on GB News when John Watt confronted you about his jab injuries. Apparently none of it was your fault. Apparently doctors advised you. You're merely a politician and not a doctor. Apparently John's voice should never have been silenced when he tried to speak about his injuries. And you mentioned a compensation scheme available to those who have been vaccine injured. I have some questions for you, dear Rishi. The doctors that advised you, who are they exactly, and where did they train? I note you took plenty of advice from Bill Gates, and he's neither a doctor nor a politician. But people such as yourself can't seem to get enough of his expertise on all manner of topics. I have to ask you, is it a little fetish that you and your colleagues have, by any chance, sucking up to Billy Boy? Gates was all over everything like a rash for quite a considerable amount of time, and was being spread far and wide by media outlets complicit in your very special brand of gaslighting. I'd say that you and your colleagues have quite the luxury line in gaslighting, which you possibly consider to be the gold standard of gaslighting. A quote from your good self at the dispatch box on the 31st of January 2024. Let me be unequivocal from this dispatch box that COVID vaccines are safe. It's notable that the effective bit of that mantra has been dropped. Are you planning to drop safe soon, too? Correct me if I'm wrong, Rishi, but it was the taxpayer who paid for all these COVID-19 vaccines, which enriched all of you who had shares in pharmaceutical companies. And it's supposed to be the taxpayer that foots the bill for the injuries caused by these state-sponsored vaccines. Why is that? Why have the pharmaceutical companies been indemnified? Especially in the light of the fact that there were thousands of medical professionals urging caution around these untested products, which you were shoving down people's throats via advertising campaigns, also known as propaganda, also paid for by the taxpayer. 100% safe and effective, you all said. You and your colleagues in Westminster, with a couple of notable exceptions, have been nothing short of a disgrace, and yet you're all handsomely paid by the taxpayer. Then you all toddle off to Davos, where Keir Starmer made it quite clear he preferred to be rather than Westminster, to chat about how you're going to rebuild trust by using public money to fund your private enterprises, and consequently personally enrich yourselves, all whilst using the military to keep the airspace clear above Davos. What exactly are you all hiding? Because I would suggest that this sort of behaviour can't be called transparent, although transparency is one of those words you lot love to throw around. I would suggest that the most transparent thing that one would have found at Davos were the condoms being slipped on innumerable cocks by $2,500 a night prostitutes. But I digress, dear Rishi, and I leave you to contemplate the thought that simply beginning to tell the truth is a very good place to start if you and your chums would like to take the idea of rebuilding trust to the next level, because you lot are not even off the starting block yet. Another thought is you have to be trustworthy yourselves before any trust can begin to be rebuilt, and I would suggest that none of you are worthy of any trust at all. I will end with a quote from Benito Mussolini. The definition of fascism is the marriage of corporation and state. I would suggest that this sounds a lot like the World Economic Forum, with its penchant for public-private partnerships. I invite you to prove me wrong, dear Rishi.